Dr. Young, and I'm going to go over the first couple of units. This is a very quickly moving class. It is HRM 5030, Organizational Staffing. So we will be going over basically from the recruiting process, actually from job creation, technically, all the way through hiring and retention. So this course is has a lot of material. It moves very fast. So you'll be doing a lot of writing. So what I'd like to do with this class is, in this day and age, a lot of people will use texting. And I don't really have specific office hours. My thought process is that I'm going to be available as much as I can. And most of the time, if you text me, you'll get an answer quickly. If you text me, if you need a phone call, that way I can carve out some time, hopefully that day, and give you a call. We can discuss whatever's on your mind, whatever issues you might be having with the class, material, anything else. If you have a quick question and you need a quick answer, you can text me whenever. I sleep, but I stay up late a lot too, so I will definitely, be able to respond to quick questions easier by text, just because you never know where I'll be or what I'll be doing or what's in the background, or so because I volunteer at schools a lot and just etc. So if you have a question, please, the best thing to do is to email me right away. So you can go into the class and there's an area called the Unit 1 Faculty Call. You can download this presentation, and this is what I'm going to go over right now. And I'm recording this because this is a very small class. This is a new class. So we're kind of building this up, and this program is new. So I'm just going to go ahead and, do this video, and that way you have it when you need it, if you need to refer back to it. So, this course is pretty much, we're gonna do exercises where you have your discussions and you have your projects. It's a broad-based staffing course, and it's beginning to end overview of staffing and selection. We'll talk about how job analysis, all the way through retention. So we'll talk about things like, and just getting more specific, laws and regulations that affect staffing, strategies for staffing, job analysis, measurement, external and internal recruitment, making that final decision, and selecting the person. We're going to talk about orienting that person, retaining the person that your new hire. We're gonna talk about. Excuse me, I've had a little cold. If I sound scratchy, I apologize. Making the decision to hire that person, different ways to retain employees, strategies for that. So there's just a lot of material. It's a very comprehensive course, but it's a broad-based course. It doesn't get too detailed into one thing. So, we're going to just kind of, it might seem like, wow, we're just going over everything, but this gives you that entry level. And, if you're an HR major looking to get a career, this is the kind of thing, a generalist is going to have a lot of, it's going to have value for a generalist. And a recruiter too. Obviously, you might get more involved in recruiting in another course, but selection is the focus. The main, I'd say the majority is actually doing. Once the recruits come in, it's selecting that one candidate. So that's really what you'll focus on in this class. So here are your course objectives, and you have course objectives, you have weekly objectives, and they'll be listed in the course as well. But you can see here, this is kind of the, when you come out of the course, this is what you should know. You should be able to, you should know these things pretty well. And, this is the knowledge what we hope that you gain from, after Unit 4. I want to say week 4. And please, I'm going to apologize ahead of time if I say week unit and I mix them up, because this unit format is new to me. Mostly it's weeks. But I'm going to, if you can bear with me, I think we'll make it out of here and we'll understand how these graduate courses they're shorter. And so they just broke them up into units instead. And so that's what I'm going to do my best to refer to each week as unit. It's a new, this is new for me too. Actually, this course, and as you move through the course, if you see any errors, issues, problems, let me know. This is a brand new course, and I designed it. So I know there's going, anything you do when you start put something out there, whether it be a product, some kind of, method system, whatever, there's always bugs, you got to work out. So I fully expect, if you find something, please let me know. I want to make this course the best it can be, and I want it to be challenging, but also interesting. And I want, I want anything you see, please let me know. Course objectives, again, the key takeaways, it's staffing, its importance, trying to see it in a big picture, get a broad-based knowledge of it, and see how it affects the bottom line. And these are the kind of things that are indirect. It's easy to figure out, when you're talking about finance and product development and things like that. That's it's easy to tie those to the bottom line, but it's not always easy to do staffing because the variables are just immense. There's so many variables involved. And I'm going to hire this person, and then that person's going to make, increase my bottom line. I mean, that's a path that's very indirect and hard to pinpoint. So, because we don't know all the extraneous variables that can affect whether that hire is highly productive. So, something to consider. It's not easy to tie that back. Career connections. How does these objectives hopefully will tie back to, real world experience, and, how can you take what you learn and apply this? And if you're not in an HR position, it might be hard to see that. But if you are in an HR position now, hopefully that you'll be able to make those connections and say, okay, I learned this week, and, I saw this at work, or I was working and what I learned in this class I applied it to this problem and it helped me. That's what we're looking for. We want to see the course outcomes be translatable to practical knowledge and, things that you can actually use and apply now or when you get in that type of position. So for the first half, which is obviously the 2 units, please post your autobiography. You got discussions in both units and course projects as well. And this goes over some of the topics you'll be covering. Now, one thing I want to tell you, this is just a kind of an overview of the course quickly, but every unit I will have a video that specifically addresses those week's assignments. So this is not going to get in detail on that, because that's what I'll post on the announcement board tomorrow and for the next unit. And this is some of the terminology for the first 2 units, and we're going to talk about culture and strategy first, models, We're going to talk about job analysis, external recruiting, knowledge, skills, abilities, and we're going to talk about EEOC, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. You know, the government agency that oversees discrimination cases, etc. You're probably familiar with that. We're going to go into that in more detail. And then HRIS, which is basically computer systems that help track information, HR information on employees. And there's a million of them, and they do all, there's any function you want, or all of them can be done by some systems, depending on the size of your company. So, the most important aspects, and this is just a kind of an, it gives you an idea, because these two are very important. And I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, but how does strategy, overall strategy and HR planning drive the recruiting process? And legislation. Legislation will be touched on in every unit because it affects every step of staffing in some way. So we'll talk about that a lot. Now, again, I know this is not a live call. And the reason, I don't know if I might have covered this earlier, I can't remember. We don't do these anymore. And I don't know, I think, honestly, the reason why is because, in my experience, I don't get a lot of participation because, you know, everyone has different schedules, work schedules, etc., and it's just very hard to get everyone in one meeting at a certain time. But I just went ahead and made this video so that you know, I'm going over it and you can watch it at your convenience. So please make sure to email me, text me if you have a question. I think that students hesitate to contact me for, you know, or just, I don't know if it's just me or any professor. There are no questions that are too small. There are no stupid questions. There are no, oh, it's 9 o'clock, I don't want to text her, you know, 10 o'clock. I mean, honestly, if it's at night that you work and you have questions, text me, and text me if you want to ask a question, and text me if you need a phone call. Because most of the time in the evenings, I can call you. So I just don't want you to be shy. This is a very fast-moving class. It's very work-intensive, and I don't want anyone to get behind. So please make sure to call me or text me if you need help now. If you're working on something and you need help right away, just let me know. Might be able to say something, give you some suggestions to get you in the right direction. But just make sure, just you know, don't be shy. I want you to succeed in this class, and it's a graduate level class, so it's definitely more work intensive than the undergrad program, because not only is it a graduate level course, but it's, you know, more compressed as well. So that's really all I have. If again, I will have a video that addresses specifically Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, and Unit 4 on the announcement board as we move through the course. And they will go over the assignments in more detail. So that's really all. I thank you for listening, and have a great evening. Thank you.